She thought the Mafia boss saved her life. That's the tragedy, because Adrian Voss doesn't rescue innocence, he consumes it. The deeper Lena steps into his protection, the clearer the story becomes. Power never comes without a price, and safety in a violent man's world is just another form of captivity. That's what makes this story so haunting. The man who shields her from brutality is also the man slowly teaching her how to live inside it.
Lena thinks she's found a lifeboat. Spoiler alert, she just jumped into a shark tank. Adrian Voss isn't a knight, he's an apex predator who just deleted the competition. She's in a world where mercy is just a typo. Now it's flee or fall for the monster. Smash that like button and drop your current coordinates in the comments. Cold coffee at 01:47 a.m. Lena's scrubbing the same spot for 40 minutes, praying the flickering neon doesn't induce a seizure before her shift finally ends. The Moonlight Cafe is a greasy dumpster fire, but it beats sleeping in a sedan. For Park, the smell of burnt toast is the sweet scent of having a roof. Marcus is humming through his burn scars, while old Jerry nurses a decaf like it's the fountain of youth. Just another night in this decaying low-rent paradise. 2 a.m. Jerry clocks out, and the real show starts. There's a guy in the pawn shop shadows watching Lena like she's the main course on a silver platter. Her brain is screaming, danger, but she tries to blame the city vibes. Except the guy isn't moving, not an inch. That's not a person. That's a hunter. 5 minutes later, he's on her sidewalk. Pale skin, dead eyes, and Lena's heart is doing 100 miles an hour against her ribs. Absolute nightmare fuel. She tells Marcus, but her voice is already gone. He offers to go out there, bless him, but she knows a hero when she doesn't see one. 2:15, Jerry's gone, and the creep is at the door. Lena's hands are useless blocks of ice as she tries to turn the deadbolt in total panic. Rear exit, trash bags, and broken dreams. That 3-block walk to the car feels like a marathon through hell with a devil breathing down their necks. The stalker isn't even hiding anymore. Marcus says, move, and Lena's basically vibrating with fear by the time they reach her beat-up, insecure Honda. Marcus tries to look tough, but Lena's fumbling the keys like a classic horror movie cliché. The bad guy is 20 feet away and closing the gap fast. Marcus tries a verbal warning, but the creep just smiles. He says her full name. Chills, right? Marcus steps up, playing a defensive game he can't win. He reaches into his pocket and Lena freezes solid. It's just a phone. But in that dark alley, it might as well be a loaded gun. He ignores the cook and stares right through Lena. He's got forever, he says. Lena finally snaps and sprints for the bright lights of high society. She busts into a swanky lounge, sneakers squeaking on million-dollar marble. She's a total wreck, gasping for air and begging the staff for a savior. The place is empty except for the bartender and 2 guys who look like they own the city. One stands up, and he's built like a surgical blade. Adrian Voss, a human glacier in a $3,000 suit. His eyes are ice cold and looking at Lena with a haunting, analytical intensity. He talks with a quiet authority that shuts everyone up. He checks the street. Nothing. The stalker and Marcus have vanished into the city's black hole. She's losing it, so Adrian sends his guy Victor to go hunting. Suddenly, the man in the suit is the only thing that matters in the room. He tells her to sit, and she does. No choice. The adrenaline dies, and she's just a girl drinking water while a weapon in a suit watches her. He knows everything. Her name. Her life. This wasn't a random creep. This was an operation. Lena feels like she just got hit by a psychological train. Call the cops? Voss laughs at that. They'll just write a report and leave her to get snatched the next night. He's her only hope now. He hands her a fancy card with an embossed number. Call me. He's not helping. He's building a cage, and Lena is walking right into it. Adrian Voss. Victor comes back. The threat is gone for now. Adrian's jaw sets. He's calm, but the air in the room is still thick with danger. He wants to know who sent the stalker. Lena feels safe with him, which is the funniest and saddest part of this whole psychological disaster. She tries to walk out, but Adrian takes control. Victor is her primary escort now. Adrian watches her go, and suddenly the empty street feels even scarier. Victor clears her car like a pro. Lena says thanks, but it's just a reflex. Victor follows her home, a pair of headlights haunting her mirror. Zero sleep. She's staring at that card until dawn. It's her only lifeline, or maybe just the leash. The sun comes up, but the world still feels totally gray. Data entry at a medical office, soul-crushing work. She's faking a smile for insurance companies just to afford a sandwich and a bit of sanity. Phone buzzes, violence in the West District. Someone got pulverized on Madison Street at 4 a.m. Lena's blood goes cold. That's her workplace's backyard. Critical condition at Metro General. No suspects. She sees the grainy photo. It's the guy in the hoodie. Lena's world stops as her coffee turns to ice. 2 p.m. Marcus confirms the body. That silence, pure dread. Marcus knows the food chain. Adrian's a monster. No free favors. Office walls, hollow heart, park mirrors, every shadow on her drive. Apartment's a trap. Deadbolts locked. Adrian's card is a ticking bomb. She answers. Adrian's voice is pure control. His methods, top secret. Stalkers just bait. Meet at 8 or die. Simple choice, guys. Ice-cold threat. Meet the devil or perish. Only the devil offers agency. Upscale bistro. White linen masking a predatory, lethal trap. Adrian's waiting. Perfect etiquette. Calculation in every single move. Death threats as banter. His clinical gaze shreds her every defense. Resilience is an asset. He orders for her, total dominance. Chen's shattered bones are a message. Just a correction. Subordinates did it. Park's a contract target, not a person. Monitored by strangers. Appetite's dead. She's officially the target. He offers survival. She laughs. He eats while she disintegrates. What's the cost? A ghost, a fixer, a total megalomaniac. Fear is survival. He's stripping away her illusions for total dependence. Territory marked, her autonomy dead. He owns the conflict now. A call interrupts. Adrian steps out, a rigid, cold silhouette. Home breached, too caught. Her sanctuary is officially gone. Goons waiting. Black sedan staged. Park's now a human asset. Destination, safe. Stockholm Syndrome starts its slow, inevitable crawl. Home invaded. She flees to a predator, begging for answers. Lowe stole data. Daughter, Lena, that's the fatal catalyst. Lena's dead. Mistaken identity. They'll kill her before checking. Fortress of glass. His habitat, sterile wealth and zero heart. Designer suits masking a sociopath. Perfect lethal corporate mimicry. I'm your survival. The city ignores her specific nightmare. Resigned compliance. His home. Brutalist, clinical, and freezing cold. No comfort, just sharp angles. Built for observation, not life. Code off. Her life's already been raided by his operatives. Exhaustion wins. Sedation follows. Her agency is just a memory. Binary choice, stay or die. The hunt is purely mechanical. She's knocking back drinks just to keep her brain from floating away, begging for a timeline he won't give. To him, she's not a person. She's just a tactical glitch he has to debug. Her pride takes a back seat to the fact that she's trapped in a lion's den. She realizes fighting back is a death wish and crawls into the guest bed. Slowly accepting her kidnapper is actually her only shield. She asks about door locks, trying to pretend she has a say, and he hits her with the cold truth. No wall in this world can keep him out. Then he just tells her to go to bed like a disobedient kid. The room is as empty as a soul, all white sheets and zero personality. She stares out at a dark garden, but let's be real, she's not seeing anything but the reflection of her own fear. Everything is perfectly placed because she's being watched by a pro. She locks the door anyway, as if that will stop him. and lies there wide awake, terrified she is about to die for someone else's sins. Her brain spends the night on a horror movie loop. She wakes up to the smell of fresh coffee, the universal sign that she is now a permanent resident in his violent little kingdom. There he is, making coffee like it's a tactical mission. No emotion, no warmth, just mechanical movements as he hands her a cup like he's refueling a piece of high-end machinery. He likes his coffee black and his questions brief. He does a quick "how did you sleep" check before she cuts to the chase. Where are the monsters who tried to kill her? He admits his specialists are currently breaking bones for answers. To him, torture is just a Tuesday morning chore, leaving her moral compass spinning in circles while she tries to stay sane. Her ethics are losing the fight against her need to breathe. Then the muscle walks in, barking something in Russian that makes even the Iceman's face twitch. That is never a good sign, guys. Some intel dropped 20 minutes ago that changed the whole vibe. He is staring at a tablet now, his eyes turning into two pieces of flint. Things just got a lot worse for everyone. Look at the screen. Her house is literally a pile of ash. This was not just a fire. It was a burning middle finger from the monsters chasing her, and the message is loud and clear. It happened at 4:00 hours while nobody was home. She drops her cup, watching it shatter, finally getting that these psychos do not care who gets caught in a crossfire. This is pure terror as a weapon. She is shaking like a leaf and tries to blame him for the mess, as if his help is the reason her entire life is melting down. He hits her with cold logic. He did not cause the fire. He saved her from burning in it. He is flipping the script, turning her from a victim into a soldier. Classic mind games, right? He does not do revenge. That is for amateurs. He does disposal. He wants a clean finish because his ego cannot handle a loose end. He is not just a killer. He is a perfectionist. A quick look from his buddy, and he is out the door to go hunt. He tells her to stay put for her safety. And when she argues, he just shuts her down with a single look. He gets right in her space, looking like a wolf. He tells her not to watch his interviews because she is not ready to see what he is really capable of doing to a person. Still no trust, but her wall is cracking. He leaves, and Victor stays at the door like a statue. Lena stares at the broken ceramic and her house on the screen. Her reality is just gone. "Can I clean this up?" she asks, just needing something to do. She spends hours scrubbing floors and staring at books she cannot read because her brain is stuck on how terrifyingly sure he sounds. Victor follows her like a shadow. At 12:00, he makes a sandwich with the same care he probably uses to clean a gun. She asks how long he has worked for a god complex. 7 years. To her protector, maybe is a death sentence. It is an exhausting way to live, but it is the only reason he is still breathing. Then, at 15:00, she hears his car pull up. She finds him at the sink, washing blood off his knuckles like he is scrubbing off dirt. She asks if he is hurt because she still has a heart, and he just says it is from the guy who talked. She cannot stop looking at that one drop of red on his collar. He tells her the hit came from a human trafficker named Vincent who thinks her dead dad left her a book of secrets. Vincent thinks her dad handed her a get-out-of-jail-free card. It is a total mistake, but Vincent is the kind of guy who would rather kill everyone than admit he is wrong. He will not stop. Lena slumps down, totally broken. But then he shows her a photo of the actual book. He found it because the guy he tortured suddenly found his voice once his options were clarified. They grabbed the ledger from a storage locker 2 hours ago. He is convinced this one book will fix everything, acting like he can just rewrite the rules of the world because he says so. "What if he still wants me dead?" she asks. He says he will just kill him first, talking about murder like he is checking off a grocery list. He has done it before, and he will again. This is your new life, Miss Park. Survival means accepting it. She wants to provide a moral argument, but the blood on his hands and her burned-down home keep her mouth shut. This monster is the only thing keeping her alive. The trade happens tonight. He thinks he's buying her coordinates, but we are changing the game. I am going with him. Absolutely not. But she insists. She is already in deep and needs to see the gears turn. He actually cracks a smile, a rare glitch in his mask that makes him look almost human. You've either got incredible guts, Miss Park, or you just don't care if you live. There is barely a difference. He nods to Victor, his shadow. Suit her up in tactical gear. Give her a vest. A vest? She asks. Stops bullets, Lena. Mockery aside, she follows Victor to pick out clothes that hide the civilian girl under a criminal layer. 1 hour later, she is wrapped in dark denim and a heavy jacket, looking like someone you should not mess with. The armor underneath is light, but the thought of needing it makes her stomach turn. Adrian walks in, his bloody shirt swapped for a fresh one. Ready? No. At least you're honest. The drive to the docks takes 40 minutes. She watches the city rot through the window. Rich neighborhoods fading into the industrial hell where the bones of the city are breaking. This is where Marcus hunts, he says. What was his big mistake? He thought he was the smartest guy in the room. He tried to use a shark to get ahead, but he only ended up killing his daughter and himself. If he were still alive, his greed would have brought him out by now. Some things matter more than just breathing. They roll into a decaying shipyard where rusted crates sit like tombstones. The air tastes like salt and rot. 3 cars are waiting. Stick to Victor like glue, Adrienne commands. If the lead starts flying, he is your ticket out. If they start shooting, we are dead anyway. Probably, but let's try for a quiet deal. He steps out with a chilling calm. Lena follows, her hand shaking, with Victor acting as her solid wall. The guys waiting are classic predators. Expensive suits over heavy guns. One man walks up, 60-something silver hair, skin cooked by the sun. Vincent Zhao. And a guest, Zhao notes with a thick accent. That is a surprise. Meet Lena Park, Adrienne says. The one you tried to hit lately. Zhao's face stays like stone. I do not know her. Liar. You know about the house, the bomb, and the price on the girl's head. But that girl is technically dead now. Exactly, this is someone new. Zhao finally looks at her. Lena refuses to blink. Why is she here? Zhao asks. Because you messed up and mistakes have prices. Adrienne pulls out the ledger. Zhao's eyes go wide, a tiny slip of pure shock. Look at this very carefully, Adrienne warns. This book has everything, your names, your roots, your money. It is a one-way ticket to a cage. I can give it to the cops or your enemies, or I can burn it right here. What do you want? Leave her alone, forever. You tell everyone Lena Park is untouchable. Do that and the book dies. Refuse and the feds get a package tomorrow morning. Then, the night after, I will come and end you myself. The silence is heavy enough to choke on. Jiao looks at the book, then at the gun surrounding them. Lena can feel the violence vibrating in the air. Is it real? Jiao growls. Adrienne opens the pages and starts reading off secrets that should be buried. With every word, Jiao looks older. Had enough? I'm being practical here. I am giving you a way to live that does not involve a body bag. You will not get a better deal. After a long beat, Jiao nods. She is yours. The word goes out. Keep it that way, because if she gets a scratch, the deal is off. And trust me, Vincent, you do not want to see what happens next. Zhao's jaw tightens, but he stays quiet. He waves his guys away and they disappear into the shadows. Lena does not breathe right until the docks are far behind them. "That is it?" she asks. "He just gave up?" He's smart enough to see a losing hand. He knows the stakes. I just showed him exactly how he was going to burn. She notices he still has the book. He is not burning it yet. In this world, leverage is the only thing that keeps you breathing. He is a sociopath. But she realizes she's alive because of it, and she whispers a quiet thanks. He ignores the gratitude with a blank stare. Solving the hit did not fix what was broken inside her. She has seen how the monsters live now, and you cannot unsee that. The normal, boring life she used to have is officially over. They drive through the city in total silence. Moving from the ruins of the docks back to the clean streets feels weird to her now. Lena feels like her soul has shifted, drifting away from the light and into the dark. Back at the house, he stays cold and distant, telling her to sleep and wait for tomorrow. But Lena stays put in his perfect empty living room. She tells him she's not going back to being a ghost in the real world. The boring office life and being alone is not enough anymore. She hates being invisible and wants a seat at the table in this dangerous game. Even if he is a monster, she would rather face a gun than go back to being nobody. She cannot explain it, but the feeling is real. It is about the power she saw today, how he crushed Chen and made Jiao fold. She is addicted to the way he commands a world that should have swallowed her whole. She just wants to stop being a victim. She wants to feel her heart racing for a reason. Adrian gives her that haunting smile again, sensing her change as he moves closer, making her blood hum with a strange, dark energy. The smell of his cologne fills the air. If she stays, everything changes. He calls her his asset, something to protect and keep. It should be terrifying, but instead it makes her feel a deep, heavy heat she cannot ignore. He brushes her jaw with a light touch, a silent welcome to the deep end. It is a warning not to drown. Then he turns back into the cold statue he always is. That night, Lena leaves her door open, giving herself to the dark. Morning brings the cold truth. Adrian is already working, shouting in Russian on the phone. He looks tired and messy, which is the only thing that makes the cold-blooded killer look like a real person for a second. He hands her a coffee, made exactly how she likes it. The hit is gone, but her name is now buzzing through the underworld. Every predator out there is wondering who she is and what she means to the man in charge. Their connection is a strange, broken thing. Victor walks in with bad news that cannot wait. Adrian's jaw locks as he looks at the tablet, his eyes turning cold as he sees the new threat coming for them. 4 people are dead, and it is going to get worse. A silent look passes between the men. Adrian tries to tell Lena to stay hidden in the house, but she shuts him down. She's not sitting on the sidelines anymore. She demands to be part of it, refusing his protection. Adrian finally snaps, showing the blood on his hands. 4 of his guys were jumped and 2 are already gone. He does not want her name on the next death report. Lena finally gets it. Her life is a crime scene now. Every drop of blood spilled? Yeah, that's on her tab. He laughs off her safety tips. Now she's home alone, drowning in the guilt of 4 dead guards. Victor is playing the silent wall while checking his phone. Lena's losing it, begging for one honest answer. Victor sees dead men as tax write-offs. But Adrienne? He made this personal, and a rat helped him. A leak in the crew is a death sentence. Lena asks, and Adrian says the traitor is erased. Adrian limps in at sunset, looking like he fought a meat grinder. He heads for the shower, silent. Look at this guy. Bloody, shirtless, and making jokes. He's basically saying, "You should see the other guy." Lena plays nurse while he acts tough. He's staring at her in the mirror like a haunting ghost. She takes charge, cleaning his face while he's spent. The traitors? Buried. Problem solved, permanently. Fixing his busted knuckles, he tells her to run. But she's staying. She's officially as crazy as him. One name. That's all he says. It's not a greeting, guys. It's a final warning before the deep end. No turning back. They collide in a mess of blood and antiseptic. The cold professional is totally gone. He tries the I'm a monster routine. Lena's not buying it. She's choosing this chaos, and he knows. She's literally tracing his scars. Every jagged line is a story of how they ended up in this. 5 years ago, a blade taught him he wasn't a god, just a kid who could actually bleed. Love is a liability, and Lena is officially his biggest weakness. Great move there, Adriana. The big bad wolf can't sleep unless she's there. Talk about a messed up, toxic lullaby. Their heartbeats are syncing up. It's poetic, or maybe just terrifying. You decide, guys. 3 weeks in and she doesn't flinch at the blood. Welcome to the underworld, family Lena. She's trying to find logic in his madness. Good luck with that. He's totally gone. The henchmen think she's a walking target. And honestly, they aren't wrong about that one. This isn't romance. It's textbook Stockholm Syndrome. She's falling for the man who caged her. One bad Tuesday, and Lena realizes she's just a porcelain doll in a literal bullet factory. When the guns came out, she just froze. Reality check. This isn't some Hollywood movie. A bullet to the head almost ended her story. She was right on the edge of game over. Victor was doing math with his gun, while Lena was busy having a total nervous breakdown. Adrian is so paranoid he tripled her guards. He's losing his grip on everything but her. Covered in blood, the monster finally admits she's the only thing that matters. Emotional fatal spot hit. He's obsessed with 3 seconds where she almost died. His ego is totally, completely shattered. He's terrified of losing her, and she's the only drug that keeps him sane. A wedding ring as a tactical deterrent? That's one way to handle the mob, I guess. He's begging for marriage because it's the only survival defense he has left. Putting a ring on her is like declaring war on the world. She's his armor now. She finally snaps. Total surrender. The bond is sealed in the wreckage of their lives. He hands her a diamond that's basically a set of golden high-end handcuffs. She thinks it's affection, but it's just the feeling of drowning together in his dark world. 24 hours, that's the countdown until he officially owns every part of her soul. He's marking his territory like a rabid animal, threatening the whole world to stay away from her. Lena is the new prized bird in his gilded cage, beautiful, valuable, and trapped. She used to be a nobody. Now she's the most significant target in the entire city. Security sees it. He's becoming human again, and in their world, that's a death sentence. The power shifted. She's the center of his universe that the whole underworld is watching. He plays the scorched earth card to keep her. Noon the next day, they're legally bound forever. 2 witnesses, 7 minutes, and a gray dress. No white, no flowers, just a cold, hard covenant. Gold rings and cold claims. He doesn't ask, he just took. And Lena, she's already deep underwater. Victor's greeting was icy but soft. Adrian then flexed with a fortress dinner requiring 6 months of clearance. The room was empty. To Lena, romance. To Adrian, fuel. Celebrations wait until the threat is dead. Married to a killer in 30 days. She thinks his violence is protection. She has 0 regrets. One smile, and the bond is sealed. Adrian began remapping his criminal world to fit her in. By nightfall, she was Lena Voss. Adrian waits for someone to challenge her new untouchable status. He plans to use extreme violence. Lena's lack of fear shows she's now part of his world. Their night was full of death awareness. 6 days of peace ended when the brother arrived. Lena was working when Victor panicked. Adrian was already in his war room watching the breach. The dead brother returned. After 3 years, he's at the airport with 12 fighters and pure hate. The Elder is a primal beast. Adrian's cold tone hid a failed paid deception about his death. Victor does trafficking and extortion. Adrian's hit failed, and now the money shield has finally broken. Diana arrived ready. Victor wants the throne after 3 years of isolation. He's coming for blood. He wants the empire and the wife. Adrian realizes the coming fight will be a total catastrophe. No more secrets. Adrian refused to hide Lena, choosing a direct fight over his subordinates' fears. Adrian is precision. Victor is appetite. The brother has no code and no mercy for anyone. Fear is logical. Adrian initiated a public strike to use witnesses as a shield. Cold efficiency. Noon, at a cafe. Adrian held Lena like a trophy, signaling he'd kill anyone who touched her. It's the mistress's kid versus the real son. Victor thinks Adrian's very life is a crime. Dad chose the narcissist over the arsonist. Victor spent 3 years planning this bloody homecoming. The owner was silent. Victor sat with 12 killers. The polite talk barely hid the murder. Victor used a condescending nickname. Then he looked at Lena like she was a transactional object. And she's my wife. Victor found it hilarious. He views their love as a weird, weak anomaly. Victor circled her like a vulture, mocking Adrian's courage. He doesn't think Adrian can kill him. They debated power. Adrian wants restraint. Victor wants chaos. Then the monster focused on Lena. Lena asked about the 47 kills. Adrian shut the inquiry down before she learned too much. Victor threatened Lena. Adrian snapped and attacked, proving he'd burn the world for her. They fought until neutral staff intervened. Adrian pulled back, keeping a lid on his rage. Victor mocked him for being tamed. He still thinks the crown was stolen from his hands. The mob wanted stability, not a psycho. Victor demanded a total bloody power shift instead, a 48-hour warning. Victor is a sociopath, and Lena can see the coming slaughter clearly. Adrian promised scorched earth if Lena is hurt. Victor just laughed at the clinical warning. Adrian finally broke. He admitted to burning a building for strategy. The hero is a ghost. Murder was just utility to him. Lena felt the horror but chose to stay loyal. The army is moving. Adrian is calling in favors while the mob waits for a winner. Victor is buying men. Betrayal is cheap when the elder brother is offering short-term gold. Lena analyzed the machine. She's finally seeing the clinical precision behind Adrian's violent control. Nobody is sleeping. Lena forced a breakthrough, making Adrian admit what he truly fears. He admitted Victor is ruthless. He actually thought about hitting reset on his whole life. He tried to save her. She insisted on staying. It's a dark, Stockholm-style kind of love. She demanded to be a partner. They targeted 3 families to win. No more running. They've worked this model for 3 years. Now they're finally fighting as one, and it's terrifyingly effective. Lena is now the strategist. She's the one writing the deals and playing the game. 2 families folded fast. The third wants a meeting at a warehouse. It's obviously an ambush. Lena insisted on going. Adrian finally accepted her as a full partner in this war. Old Alex watched them. He saw that they aren't just a couple. They're a new empire. Adrian shields Lena. Alexei thinks he's gone soft from Victor's lies. Adrian's pitch? Mercy keeps you alive longer than a bullet, guys. Adrian calls Victor's land grab promises a ticket to a total dumpster fire. Alexei demands cash, but Lena spots the trap and calls his bluff. Lena brands Victor a disaster, leaving Adrian as the only adult left. Alexei realizes the mouse just grew claws and gives them a second chance. The standoff thaws, but Victor's main character complex is still a bomb. Adrian calls Lena a loose cannon as they leave, keeping total control. Alexei is handled. Adrian counts down to Victor's 48-hour meltdown. Victor sends 3 corpses. Adrian answers with 72 hours of hell. Adrian guts the business like a surgeon while Lena sits in purgatory. Victor trashes Dad's grave, sparking a 3 a.m. sibling bloodbath. Victor screams about daddy issues while Adrian treats him like a dog. Victor wants a fight. Adrian accepts, ignoring Lena's terrified screams. Lena watches the massacre. Adrian says the blood is for everyone's safety. No movie moves, just two brothers beating each other into the dirt. Adrian flips the script, choking Victor as they both run on fumes. Adrian offers an out, but Victor's ego is too bloated to quit. Victor pops his shoulder for a gun, but Lena shoots him first. She'd swiped the gun earlier, ending the war with one shoulder shot. Adrian tells his bleeding brother that every ally has already sold him out. Victor sees a killer in Lena. Adrian uses that fear to end it. Victor finally takes the loss, making his first rational choice in years. Lena collapses after bang. Diana scoops them up before the cops. Victor is done. Adrian's mercy is just a terrifying flex for the city. The mob bows down while Lena realizes she's no longer an observer. Lena fears she's turning evil, but Adrian says she's his moral anchor. Lena looks in the mirror and realizes the scared girl is officially dead. 14 days later, the nightmares start, flashbacks and the ghost weight of the gun. Adrian stays by her side, framing the pain as the cost of survival. Adrian cleans house, sparing every captain with a wandering eye. In meetings, everyone shuts up for Lena. They're terrified of the wild card. Diana realizes people fear Lena more than Adrian's calculated violence. 90 days in, Adrian quits the slave trade, torching the dirty money. He's burning tens of millions because he can't look Lena in the eye. Adrian quits the mob life and turns federal informant to save his soul. He trades his whole empire for immunity. Lena never saw it coming. 6 weeks of snitching turns the king of crime into a government asset. He's burning everything down so Lena won't eventually grow to hate him. A Tuesday raid arrests 37 targets while Adrian's name is erased. Adrian cuts off his own limbs to leave his former allies exposed. Even Alexei realizes that human trafficking was just a dead-end liability. 6 months later, the system is clean and under Adrian's cold control. Adrian's basically scrubbed the blood off the family business and made it look corporate. He treats his father's violent legacy like a boring math problem, trading street hits for high-stakes spreadsheets. He's graduated from the muscle to the mastermind, and honestly, it's terrifying. He buys a farm in the middle of nowhere, trying to play house in a peaceful sanctuary away from the life. He knows the math, though. Guys like him don't usually get the happy ending, but he's gambling on beating the odds anyway. They're playing pretend on weekends, trying to act like normal people. Lena's out there accidentally murdering a tomato plant, while Adrian's building fences so perfect it's borderline psychotic. They're just poking at the edges of a regular life, testing the floor. Watching the sunset, Lena suggests they just keep faking this average Joe routine forever. But Adrian, he's actually catching feelings for the lie. He doesn't want to just play a part anymore. He wants the simulation to become his actual soul. 2 months in, and biology throws a wrench in the gears. Lena's pregnant. She's a wreck, exhausted, terrified, and flirting with this thing called hope. For a woman who's seen the worst of humanity, that's the scariest monster of all. Over dinner, she drops the bomb with total efficiency. Adrian completely freezes, his brain short-circuiting as he processes the data. At 6 weeks along, his face is a literal battlefield of every emotion he ever tried to kill. Then comes the "what now" interrogation, full of that pitch-black humor people use when they know they're totally unqualified to be parents. But then Adrian laughs, a real chilling laugh, and you realize he's all in on this impossible gamble. He wants the whole package, risks be damned. Once Lena sees he's not running, the weight finally lifts off her shoulders. Adrian's plan for child safety? Oh, just completely dismantling and rebuilding the entire underworld to suit his needs. Classic. Adrian talks a big game, but the actual pregnancy is a nightmare of sickness and weight loss for Lena. She's spiraling, convinced she's biologically broken and won't know how to be a mother. The trauma really doesn't quit, does it? Adrian turns into the world's scariest helicopter parent, basically interrogating the doctors like they're rival snitches. He doesn't do reassurance. To him, the concept of acceptable risk when it comes to his family is just a fairy tale. He turns their house into a high-tech clinic, convinced he can just engineer his way out of any problem. It's the ultimate control freak move, trying to outcalculate Mother Nature because he can't handle the one thing he can't shoot. Planning is Adrian's only anchor, but when Lena goes into labor at 36 weeks, the schedule goes out the window. He's in a state of controlled panic, that high-speed vibration where a guy looks calm but is actually screaming internally. By Thursday night, they've got a baby girl who's already screaming her head off. Despite being early, she's perfect. Even the doctor says she's got that inherited force of will, which is just polite medical speak for this kid is going to be trouble. Adrian just stands there, staring at the baby like she's a fragile asset he might break just by looking at her. It takes everything he has just to work up the nerve to hold her, looking like a man holding a glass sculpture. He's genuinely shocked by how tiny she is, suddenly doubting he can actually protect something so small. But then she looks at him, and just like that, the former monster is completely exposed. It's the one moment where the mask totally slips. This weird sound, part sob, part sigh, breaks out of him. He whispers a promise to keep the world's filth away from her and names her Lena. It's a nod to the women in Lena's family who survived hell to get here. The mob sends gifts, of course, because they can't just let things be. Alexei Kozlov sends an heirloom that basically says, "Congrats on the future, boss." These guys are obsessed with dynasties. They can't imagine a kid who isn't a chess piece. Adrian isn't having it. He doesn't want a legacy. He wants his daughter to have a choice. He'd burn his entire empire to the ground just to keep her out of the life. And when he says it, you know he's not kidding. Surprise! They're pregnant again within a year. This time, Lena isn't a shaking leaf. She's got this. She walks into the second round with a been there, done that vibe, trading her old terror for some cold, hard experience. The boy, Marcus, arrives 14 days late, already showing that stubborn, I'll do what I want streak. They name him after the one guy who protected Lena during her darkest days. The case file is still open, but things are changing. Adrian's trying to rewrite his own childhood by being the dad he never had. He's moving away from seeing kids as tactical variables and trying to build a home that actually feels like one, even if it costs him everything. The guy's completely flipped. Mr. Executive Control is suddenly patient and emotionally available. He's overcompensating so hard for the paternal neglect that made him a monster that it's almost painful to watch. He's trying to love the sociopath away. Now the house is a mess of baby screams and environmental disorder, and Adrian's actually grateful. He looks at Lena like she's the saint who saved him from himself. She's the spark that turned a killer into a dad. Lena isn't the victim anymore. She's played the game and won, turning from an invisible ghost into the actual cornerstone of this new, legit empire. She's the one holding the leash now, and she does it beautifully. The Voss Biz is going corporate, scrubbing the blood off the books. Adrian's systematically cutting ties with the old-school thugs who still think it's the old days. It's a messy divorce from the underworld, and not everyone's happy about it. If you can't play by the new legal rules, you're gone. Adrian's still using Victor to do the heavy lifting, making sure the machine keeps running even after he's out. It's the ultimate legacy move. making himself replaceable. 5 years later, news hits. His brother died in a drug-induced haze in Buenos Aires. Adrian processes the death of his own blood with the same warmth you'd give a weather report. That bridge wasn't just burned, it was vaporized. He didn't see a brother. He saw a biological monster. To Adrian, the guy's violent streak was an unchangeable trait, making his death a net positive for the planet. Cold? Yeah. But in this world, cold is what keeps you alive. The funeral was a blip. The guy didn't regret the bodies he left behind, only that he got caught. Adrian doesn't waste a second on mourning. He just goes right back to his kids, leaving the trash where it belongs. With the brother gone, the past is finally dead. Little Elena is already showing she's the smartest person in the room, setting boundaries like a tiny CEO. She's clearly a product of an environment where you either lead or get stepped on. Marcus is the quiet one, but don't let that fool you. He's just as stubborn. Adrian's drip-feeding them stories about his violent past, trying to teach them that the world isn't black and white, but a very messy shade of gray. He tells a 9-year-old that sometimes you have to do bad things to keep your family safe. It's a heavy lesson, teaching them that survival usually comes with a price. Ethical? No. Essential. In his head, absolutely. By the time the kids are 12 and 10, the transition is complete. The money's all in clean real estate and portfolios. He's successfully built a wall between his heirs and the blood that paid for their college funds. Lena watches him and finally breathes a sigh of relief. She sees a man who builds things instead of breaking them. Of course, she knows the predator is still in there. He's just found a more productive way to hunt. Adrian admits he hasn't changed his soul. He's just updated his parameters. He doesn't go on a rampage because he has a family to go home to. They aren't just his life. They're the only thing keeping the monster in the cage. 10 years in, and they return to the literal gutter where they met. What was once a hellhole is now just a trophy of their success. Talk about a massive glow-up, guys. Ask him about regret and he will just shrug. Yeah, people got whacked, but choosing her, he would pull that trigger again tomorrow. It is the one choice he does not hate. Look at them out in public. He once called this partnership his biggest tactical mistake. Turns out the smartest guy in the room was a total moron about his own heart. 1 minute he is signing a death warrant, the next he is just another soccer dad. It is a wild double life, but it keeps the kids from turning into monsters. Forget the empire. That is just noise. They have built a private sanctuary where loyalty is everything. It is them against the world, and for once, the world is losing. Lena finally stopped running, and Voss turned his ego into a protector complex. They are both completely broken, but they found a way to stay stable in a total hellhole. The blood on their hands is permanent, but staying together is the real win over their trauma. Their survival is a cold, calculated bond that actually managed to save them.